I'm Sal.
I'm Beth.
We are the Brewery Lovers, another California installment. Get more California breweries. We were on our way north-ish. We wanted to see redwood trees.
We did.
Separate video. I'll put the link in the doobly-doo. But on the way, Mrs. Emma, she's great, found a route that included Route 1. And if you haven't done Route 1 in California, boy, it is just
spectacular,
jaw-droppingly beautiful. It really is. Of course,
notice I did it north, so that I wouldn't.
Yeah, why did you go north, Beth?
Because I don't like looking over cliffs from the passenger side.
So I looked over the cliff. No, I didn't. I was driving. I was looking at the road.
You were looking at the road.
She's a planner, that Beth. She's got it all figured out. Because this is what you see out your window. Like, it could freak you out if
so
you're...
pretty.
Yeah. And sometimes you're really close to the waves crashing on the rocks.
Mm-hmm.
But just beautiful. We stayed in a town called Jenner.
Yes.
This is
It
getting
was a
down...
harvest toast.
Not quite like getting to the beach in New Jersey. There's a rope to keep you from falling and cracking your head open.
Down this Scrabble.
And stone steps, wet, because it was raining.
It was pouring.
Yeah.
But I had to get to the beach. I saw this little beach down there and knew it was accessible, so had to do it.
And so worth it, because once you get down there, it was really pretty.
It was a gorgeous cove.
Pretty nice, and nothing like what you're used to on the East Coast. Well, maybe Maine.
Yeah, and you know what?
Yeah.
Newport, Rhode Island.
Rhode Island
Kind of reminds me of that.
Nothing like the Jersey.
Not New Jersey.
Sure, no. Just pretty. Even on a gray, rainy day, it's pretty.
It was still spectacular.
So we stayed in a harvest host. So much fun. It was a little general store, deli. Guy made really good sandwiches.
Beautiful selection of like cheeses and sandwiches.
A little bit of everything. They had camping gear and fishing gear and beer.
And beer on draft.
And they had a little tiny bar with like 4 taps. But this is where you park. Okay? Honestly, I was not nervous. Beth was a little nervous.
Well,
because when you look, if you
had to back over
you had to back
a 6-foot thing,
yeah,
or not 6 foot,
inch.
6-inch thing. So, like, you got to gun it to get it up over the hill.
And if you go too far,
gun it a little bit too far, and it's 60 feet down back onto Route 1.
Yep, would have been a fun ride.
Yeah.
So I threw a couple
boards behind
some dunnage back there,
Yeah,
just so you could feel it hit something, because there was nothing to stop you from going down that big hill.
But we were fine. It was a perfect platform for the Echo.
It's a really nice harvest host, right on the water there.
And bonus, Sal sat at the bar. Sal sat next to another harmonica player.
I did. A brother of a very famous harmonica player called Kim Wilson, who's from the Fabulous Thunderbirds. That was really fun. He goes, "Oh, you might know my brother." I'm like, "Yeah, I know your brother.
And
I have his records."
It's breweries. You sit at a brewery next to somebody and you talk. It's not a bar.
This is Hen House, which is in Petaluma, literally right across the street from Lagunitas.
Across the street.
And nice place, nice beer. Of course, it was pouring.
It was pouring. It never rains in California unless we're there.
Never rains in Southern California. We were in Central California.
Yeah,
so it rained.
We have a inconsistency on how we think that song goes.
Beth made a friend. She always does, human or otherwise. Beers were really good, I thought.
Yep. Yeah, it was called Stoked Citra, which was a hazy pale.
Made with one of Beth's favorite hops, Citra.
I love Citra. Joy Delivery System, an IPA with Mosaic, Eldorado, and Cardinal hops. Language Creates Reality. I just loved that title. I just think that's an accurate description of how our brains work. That was an IPA with Nelson and several New Zealand hops that I had trouble saying. Straight to Video was a Schwarz.
Schwarz beer's interesting. You don't find it that often in a microbrewery, and when you do, it's often not right. It often tastes like porter, which it should not. It should be very dry, very light almost. It's dark beer, but it doesn't taste like dark beer, if there's such a thing. It's a really light, crisp German lager that has a little tiny bit of toast, but not super roasty, super like dark malty, and that's often what you find. But this one was good, I thought. It's a good example.
Yep. Overture, which was a West Coast IPA, and Sonnets to Morpheus, which was a double IPA.
Sonnets to Morpheus.
They had a newspaper that you could pick up, and I can't hold it up because it would take up the whole thing.
Thing was huge.
And it had when everything was going to get released. They had several different series of beers that transitioned through the year, and they have the whole schedule out, so you know if Sonnets to Morpheus is your favorite, it's coming out in February or whatever. But I just thought that was really interesting that they have that sketched out as clearly.
Yeah, it's interesting. You often go into a brewery that's really a restaurant, and the beer, they just happen to make their own beer. Then you go into breweries where you know the place is run, owned, and operated by beer nerds. And this was one of those places. They're the places we like. We like the beer nerd places.
Yeah.
And this was definitely among them. Yeah, nice job. This is Anderson Valley, which is, I don't know where it is. Oh, it's in Boonville, Mendocino County. Mendocino County. As you can see, we did the rain tour of California. Every town, every county, rain. But
yep.
That's us. It almost looks like a European brewery, the way they have it designed here. This is the brew house. You can see these kind of classic, old-fashioned copper kettles through the window. That's the tasting room.
Yes.
And it was really a beautiful place. It really was. I mean, look at all the wood. And super clean, super neat. And beers were good.
Yes.
Anderson Valley has a fairly good reputation for beer. They've been around a while. They're one of the California pioneers of craft beer. And, of course, it was also nice that we had the place to ourselves.
We did on a rainy
I
afternoon.
think we got there right at opening time.
There's all this beautiful outdoor seating, but we didn't get to appreciate that.
We did at least one flight. Did you write down what we had?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay, that's all right.
I think my notebook got all soggy running from to and from Bleep.
Beers were good. We liked the place.
It was really nice space.
This is Parliament. Interesting story. We were at Russian River. Well, you tell the story because
we
you
were at
actually
Russian
remembered
River in Santa Rosa.
The original location of Russian River.
And the couple next to us started talking to us, and they said this was one of their favorites, and it hadn't been on my radar.
No, it was not on the radar at all.
It was a town that I hadn't planned to go through, so I hadn't looked it up. But they recommended it, so we stopped it, and we found it, and it was great.
The beers were really good. Now, there's a caveat here. This happens all the time. People say, you got to go to this brewery. And then we look at the Untapped rating. And we say, no, we don't have to go there. You know, it's like a 3.5 or something. But this place had a really high rating, and it wasn't too far off our planned route. So we're glad we went because
we made the diversion.
The beer was absolutely superb.
Plus, for some reason I can't understand, it was sunny there.
For 5 seconds.
We got to have a little bit of sunshine. And then it started raining again.
Really pretty place, all this wood and the fans, and nicely designed brewery. Mm-hmm. They had a big patio, lots of stuff on tap.
Dog-friendly patio and a food truck. On the left is Dreams of Jupiter, which was a red ale. And then I had, maybe I spelled it wrong, or maybe I didn't, Kaleidoscope Hazy IPA.
Yeah, Kaleidoscope.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah. By the way, great beer tender. He was.
Yep.
He was particularly
very helpful, informative.
Good.
Yeah.
Cheers.
When somebody at the brewery tells you, try this one, give it a thought.
Give it a thought.
Cheers.